8?
Yeah, $8 an hour, and I was 16 years old working like 35 hours a week.
They were like, yeah, we're gonna let you go.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in an A24 film. Oh my god, that was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you're a beautiful writer. That was incredible.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Lohanny.
Hi, I'm Kalissa.
And Kalissa and I just met.
We did.
And this is really exciting.
It is really exciting. Yeah, you've got a great smile.
Oh, thank
by
you,
the way.
Kalissa.
I'm
oh
just
my God,
like,
I'm
wow.
Blushing.
I'm blushing looking at you, low-key a little bit. Yeah, your face is looking very glowy and great. I love
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So Kalissa, tell me how you got started as a creator.
Oh, dog.
Yeah.
I think for me, it was a happy accident of sorts.
Yeah.
I got on TikTok like everybody else in like really late 2019, early 2020. And I was just kind of messing around, doing whatever, doing dances, which I should not have been doing.
I've been slayed.
No, I really did not. And then when the pandemic hit, I just started doing it a little more because I didn't know what else to do. And I started working for my school's TikTok. I went to the City University of New York. I went to Hunter College, and I started working as the main admin for their TikTok account, the CUNY TikTok. And I was making really edgy, weird content for them, talking about being a commuter student, talking about the pandemic, talking about New York City. And it was an interesting experience for sure, being like the face of my school, kind of being like a mascot.
Yeah,
in a way.
yeah.
But it was also a work study job, so I got paid for that, and it was really cool. And then I expanded that role and started working in the CUNY office. I started writing like ads. I was writing like chancellor speeches, and I was like, what is going on? Like, this all started from social media. And it was crazy, and people like at school were like, hey, are you the girl from TikTok? And I was like, I guess I am now.
Awesome.
They were like, oh my god, CUNY girl's coming down the Sky Bridge. And I was like, okay. And then in that time I just started making videos on my personal about kind of the same thing, New York, growing up here. I'm born and raised in Queens, so just kind of intertwining those two brands together was really how I got my start. Yeah. And I graduated and I kept doing it. So
I was scrolling through your TikTok and I saw your video about your acceptance essay for college about SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was awesome.
Really?
Yeah, you're a beautiful writer. That was incredible. Do you write on your own time too, or?
Yeah, so in college I majored in theater, as I'm an actor, and I got my minor in English, and my focus on my studies was like creative writing. And
I love creative writing.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's a scary thing to do creative nonfiction and write creatively about yourself, and kind of write in like a biased way because you want to be like entertaining for the reader, and really like amp everything up. And I think the SpongeBob college essay was like my first time venturing into that, and I got to expand upon it in college, which was really cool. But you said you write as well.
Yeah. I do. I try to.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually, when I lost my job, I was offered like a book editing like opportunity. It was like a side hustle, and it was like a fiction novel, and it was like really cool. But yeah, I like to write for fun on my own time. I just found out about Substack.
Substack.
It's like this new platform where people like blog and they write articles and stuff, and it also feels like Twitter maybe. I'm very new to it. I don't know much about it, but
Nice.
yeah, so that was really fun. I do like
love
writing.
that.
Actually, in another life, or like hopefully in my lifetime
Yeah,
now,
this
I would
lifetime.
love for real. I would love to be like a fiction writer too.
Wow.
That's another part of all the things that I want to do with my life.
Would it be like a fictionalized account of your life, or do you want to write just like straight up fiction, other people?
I feel like it would be inspired by my life, but I'm very much like pulled to stories. Yeah, I would say so. Like the stories I like are like about friendships, love, life advice.
Okay.
Huge like Dolly Alderton fan. I also like Cheryl Strayed.
Cool.
So yeah.
I don't read much, so I don't know who those people are.
Oh, okay.
But I will look it up
Sally Rooney,
after this.
do you know Sally Rooney? She wrote the
Normal
book
People.
Normal People, yeah.
Yes.
The series on Hulu.
Great
That was
book,
so good.
great show.
Yeah.
Loved it. How did you get started with content creation?
Okay, so during the pandemic, I like downloaded TikTok, but I was an active like viewer of TikTok for like a year.
Okay.
And then when I saw all these creators getting so many opportunities from the internet, I thought, okay, well, I'm an actor. Nobody knows who I am yet. What if I use social media to get myself out there as an actor?
Right.
And so then I started posting, and for literally like 2 years straight, my videos would get 200 views. And it was like kind of disheartening because I was like, oh man, like, even this thing is hard too.
I know.
I was like, I thought it was gonna be easy. And so then I just kept going, and then eventually, like this past September, there was a trend going on TikTok. I followed the trend, and it was doing really well.
What was the trend?
It was like a tube girl trend.
Oh,
so
yes,
yeah. So I saw this girl in London do it, and I was like, what happens if I do it in New York? I'm fearless. So I did it, and for the first time, my video started reaching millions of views.
Wow.
And so I did that for a little while, and it did well, and then I eventually stopped, and when I stopped, I actually got let go from a babysitting job that I've been doing for 2.5 years.
Okay.
And then that's when I started documenting my journey on TikTok about like, hey guys, like I lost my job. We're gonna be an influencer, like it's gonna work out. And so for like a few months, I was just really hopeful like that TikTok would work out for me, but I wasn't making any money. And I was also unemployed. And so then when I finally realized like, oh, I have to be realistic and go find a job. So I printed out a bunch of resumes.
I saw that video.
Yeah, that's the video that made me explode in the internet and how people know me now. But yeah, I got my resumes. I went to coffee shop door to door, and they all turned me down. And I was like, no, I have an education. I speak multiple languages and not even a coffee
What languages
shop.
do you speak?
Portuguese, English, and Spanish.
Nice.
Do you speak other languages too?
No.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I wish I did.
Okay.
Which is the first place to start.
What do you wish you spoke?
Gujarati. My mom
nice.
speaks Gujarati, and then my dad's Guyanese, and they speak like English over there, but it's more of like a patois of sorts. So I understand when they're talking, but if you speak to me in Gujarati, I'm not gonna know anything.
Hey, that's still a skill. At least you know a little bit of it. Yeah.
Here and there, I can count up to 10.
Oh, good.
So
I could do that in Italian too.
Can you?
Yeah.
Do it right now.
No, I can't.
No, you have to. Don't be shy.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I can't verify whether or not that was right, but it sounded pretty good to me.
It is correct. I learned it in 3rd grade.
Nice.
But yeah, what was I gonna say?
Sorry. Yeah, I like. Sorry,
no, you're good. You're good. I forgot your question. Honestly, I forgot.
Getting started in content creation.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think you answered it. That was
so
the unemployment journey.
I posted that video because I was feeling like frustrated that I couldn't find a job, and within like an hour the video reached 3 million views, and I was like, whoa, I've never seen this happen before.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day I just kept getting like a larger following, and then I woke up to over 100,000 followers from 50,000, which was a big jump for me. I was like, oh wow. And then from there new opportunities started showing up for me, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is the power of the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
I've just experienced like the power of the internet thing. I just met Ed Sheeran because of like my social media stuff.
Yeah.
So I totally resonate with you on that. It's really amazing how many people your stuff can go to in literally hours. Not even hours, minutes, seconds.
And what kind of content do you like to create?
Oh man, this is such a hard question. I feel like now, before it was like trend videos. When I was doing my CUNY stuff, it was very much so like I hear a trend, I do something involving my life, I come up with the video text, everything is like about my life, but it's to this sound that is pre-existing. And now I just kind of do whatever I want. So that includes making vlogs, like travel vlogs. My boyfriend lives in Toronto, so a lot of the time I'll do those. I was really scared to do vlogging because it's such a saturated space, but the way that I distinguish myself is with my editing. And I, do a lot of zoom ins, and I do a lot of quick cuts, and I do things like that. So vlogging, I started waxing my mustache on the internet a little bit ago. Yeah. So I got a couple of those up. I still do the trend videos every now and then, but what really fulfills me is letting people into my life and making them laugh and making them smile. That's always what I want to do in anything I do. So if someone sees me, physical comedy, I'm sure as an actor, physical comedy is like very, very important. And like, what's funnier than like all day long. So I've gotten a lot of like positive response from that, especially from like brown girls who are like, hey, I'm hairy. This is great. And I'm like, okay.
I think that's awesome. It probably makes a lot of people feel seen too.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes people are like, I feel like sometimes people don't think body hair, they're like nervous about it, but it's like it should be normalized. It's like it's a normal thing. I actually recently posted a video saying that I was on my period.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm on my period and I'm wearing like this skirt, like I'm trusting the process.
Yeah.
And then like the comment section was just like men being like, why would you do that? And I'm like, girl.
Did you find that was like on Instagram or TikTok, or
That
this
was
both?
That was actually mostly on Instagram. I find that Instagram, people are more quick to comment on things, and
it seems like it goes to the wrong people.
Oh, for
more
sure.
Often on
yeah.
Instagram.
Like on Instagram, it's the comments section are always like, questionable. So I don't really look at it too much. But TikTok is more of like friendlier, like more supportive community that I find, and that's like really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned that your editing really sets you apart from other creators. Do you use like a specific platform to edit your videos?
Just CapCut.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just use CapCut.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes, just kind of like fiddling with your fingers and trying to, I know it's available on desktop. I know it is, but I feel like I have resistance to it only because, maybe not so much now, but at first when I started doing them, like my boyfriend would be like, why are you sitting there being like squinting and being like, what's going on, and getting those little tenths of seconds, like, you know, correct.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, because if I start editing on my desktop, I guess that actually makes me a creator. And that would be weird because I'm an actor and I don't know if I can be these two things at once. And then what if one takes away from the other and I don't know? And it was such a simple thing. It was just him being like, why aren't you editing on your desktop? And it made me think of all these other things that come with doing that. Just like aesthetically, even like I don't know about the like sitting and like editing. Like I feel like it makes it too real.
I feel like as an actor myself too, I feel like being a creator also adds to my experience as an actor, because when I'm like editing videos, I'm now paying attention to like camera shots and like how am I gonna like make things look the way it's like. Wait, let me rephrase this. How am I gonna like create things the way that I see it in my mind?
How do you tell the story?
Yeah, exactly. So then when I think of myself as an actor, I now like have awareness of what the camera is doing too. So I feel like it adds more to my experience. But I don't think that creating or content creation takes away from the acting. I know like maybe that makes you feel a little bit more like intimidated by it because you are an actor first.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think it's the philosophy of like how I said it was a happy accident and it kind of fell into my life, and this wasn't a career that was so, I don't want to say accessible because that's not, I don't know if that's the right word, but this career wasn't what it was years ago, right? So I think because I've been so gung-ho about like actor, that like doing something else, I was just like, oh my God, no, like what's going on? I don't think I have that same resistance now, especially because I am being more consistent and I am using it as like a leverage of sorts. But more often than not, I feel like a little bit of a compartmentalization has to happen when you are a multi-hyphenate to be able to focus on like all the things individually, if that makes sense. It's important to recognize the overlap for sure, but when it comes to dedicating time and things like that, I think there does need to be a little bit of a separation for me.
Yeah. For sure.
But you see more of an overlap, I think, which is interesting.
In some ways, you know what? Repeat the question. I forgot. I'm like kind
like,
of like
so when I'm viewing myself as like actor and creator, right? I don't know if I see them as like a actor and creator. It's more like actor, creator.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
Maybe the visualization.
Yeah.
Do you feel like yours is more like actor and creator? And it
I would say. Yeah, I would say mine is like everything in one, like all my interests in one. Like I would say I'm an actor, creator, producer, director. Like I think that like I'm all of those things in one. And for a long time I was just like actor and very like focused on that. But then I realized that like after like the acting career hasn't happened for me for so long, I thought, you know what? It's okay to explore other interests while you're still pursuing that main interest.
Absolutely.
So that's why like I kind of like branched out a little bit, but acting is still my number one thing. Absolutely. For sure.
Do you make a lot of content about acting?
I don't actually.
Okay, me neither.
And some people are like, why don't you just post your acting videos online? And
I will never post my tape online.
I know.
Never.
They're like, you should totally post your auditions. Like, post more acting for us, girl.
No.
And I'm like, I
can't.
I don't know. Like, I feel like that's where acting is separate for me when it comes to creating, because I don't really post my acting online. Right. I'll post like my personal life, my fit checks and stuff on like TikTok, but in some ways,
you think it's too vulnerable, or do you feel like it's more of just like a privacy thing?
Maybe like a privacy thing, but also a fear of not being seen when I want to be seen. I think that's what it could be for me. Like, I want to post my acting thing out there, but what if nobody sees it? And what if no opportunities comes from it? Then what's the point? But one thing I did recently is I got new headshots.
Yes, I saw them. They're beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very excited about it. But one thing I did was I pitched myself online because my reels are doing so well. It's getting like upwards of 1 million views and like almost all the videos, which is really lovely.
Right.
So then I thought, okay, well, if all my other videos are doing this, what happens if I post my headshots and I just talk about my journey of getting new headshots? And in the caption, I pitched myself. I said, hi, my name is Lohanny Santos. I'm an actor. Here's what I'm looking for. A fire agent who wants to be a powerhouse with me through this career.
Yeah.
Here's what like my education, here's my training. And I basically just like made it like an email format in a way of what I would send to an agent, but it's on my Instagram and it's pinned. So if anybody goes on my profile and they click there, they're like, oh wow, like, okay, she's an actor, she has new headshots.
I pinned my headshots too. So
and then I wrote, think Winona Ryder, Holly Hunter. Like, I was like going for it. And then I said, looking for an agent. Let's go.
That's pretty fantastic. I love that you used like examples that are already like out there in the world of like what you're striving towards. I feel like I have like problems with that sometimes. Like, I feel like this is such a like actory thing to say, but it's like, I don't exist yet. Like, I don't know if anyone is really like me. Like, but I don't know that I feel entirely represented by like any one person in Hollywood right now. Which is great, like lights a fire under my ass. And I'm like, if I don't see anyone that is me, and I don't mean that in just like a physical regard, like there's a bunch of South Asian representation out there right now and it's beautiful and lovely, but I don't know that any of them are me, right? So I'm like, God, I gotta get in there. Like, Kalissa has to be there. And then, I mean, talk about like West Indian representation, like there's none really. Like I'm Guyanese as well. I'm half Indian, half Guyanese, and I don't know if off the top of my head I can even think of someone that's like famously Guyanese.
Yeah.
So I want to
You
do
will
that.
be.
I want to do that. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, I gotta be in there. But yeah, that's do you feel like that, even though you're like, like the Winona Ryder example or whatever? Do you still feel like
those were kind of like examples to like match my essence?
Okay.
But feeling like represented, I would say, like, I'm Brazilian and so is my family, and I don't see a lot of Brazilian talent like on TV besides like Cami Mendes. She was in Riverdale. She's Brazilian.
She's fantastic.
And she has the same like background as I am, like parents born in Brazil, like born in the US or whatever. And I recently saw a movie named Musica.
Yes,
she
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God, it was
so
incredible. Good. And that was the first time I've ever felt represented like on television, because they really showed the Brazilian culture, and the movie was filmed in Newark, New Jersey, and I grew up in Newark and Elizabeth, New Jersey. So they literally kind of like showed my culture and the people I grew up with. They spoke Portuguese in like the entire movie, and usually in a lot of like film and TV, it's mainly like if you're not speaking English, it's Spanish, but never like Portuguese. So that was like a really beautiful movie to see, and it was like really exciting. But yeah.
I mean, Rudy Mancuso is like, that's crazy that he started on Vine.
Yeah.
He's doing that forever. He like went away. I don't know what he was doing for those years. And now he's back in this way. I thought that was so inspiring.
That was incredible.
I couldn't even believe. I was like, oh my gosh, he was doing the puppet thing. And now he's in a movie.
The power of social media. He started on Vine, and now he's dating Cami Mendes, and they made
that's
this
the real
together.
win.
For real. She's God, she's awesome.
She's fantastic.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Oh gosh.
Okay, this is changing up the subject a little bit, but do you face any challenges as a creator, or like what are some challenges you face, and how do you feel about like growing online along with your audience? Do you feel connected to them? Like, what is your experience like online?
Yeah, I think I do feel connected. I feel like you can't not feel connected when you're, again, waxing your mustache for people and just being like, ta-da! Like, and even when I do vlogs and stuff, you know, one of the main things that I do in my vlog is I tongue scrape. With a tongue scraper.
Yeah.
Do you have a tongue scraper?
Oh my God, yeah. I used to have one. I need to get another one.
Yeah,
but
they're
I love
great.
that. Yeah.
So tongue scraping, I think I only know about it because like it's a huge thing for brown people. Like my mom, when I was little, she was like, here's your ulyu, because that's what she calls it. So she's like, here it is. use it forever because your tongue needs to be clean.
It makes my mouth feel so
it
freaking
feels so
clean.
Great. You could taste things better. It's lovely.
Exactly.
But that's something that felt very like inherently desi to me. And when I started making my vlogs and there was just that one part of me tongue scraping, so many people were like, oh my God, your tongue scrape, but like this is me, this is it. And I was like, wow, that's great. And like people would be like, where'd you get your tongue scraper? Like, what do you recommend? I'd be like, oh my God, I got it on Amazon. I got it here. I got it there. And I think I love answering people's questions if they're asking, like, and I'm sure you know, where'd you get this top? Where'd you get this? No gatekeeping here. Like I tell everyone everything. I give everyone the links. I try to do that as much as I can. Because if something's making someone happy, I want to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I engage with my community. I respond to like DMs of people being like, love you, girl. Like I love doing that.
Yeah, I respond to DMs too. I think it's fun.
I think my boyfriend was just talking about this with me the other day because I had a video where I was making Maggi noodles. Do you know what those are?
I don't think so.
It's like, it's just like noodles. It's like a stir fry type thing. And I made it wrong. And it's a huge part of like brown culture to eat these Maggi noodles as you're growing up in your life. And I made it wrong because I've never had them before. And I made it like soupy and it was supposed to be dry or whatever. And I got a lot of comments of people being like, oh my God, like this is awful. You should go to jail for this. Like so many things. And I was like, man, this is tough. And I want to respond to all the comments, whether they're negative or positive, and be like, I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to make the noodles wrong or anything. And I found myself responding more to like the negative comments than the positive ones. The positive ones being like, A for effort. You tried. Good job. Try it again next time. Try these tips. People literally giving me full recipes. I wasn't responding to those, but I was responding to people who were like, you're a fake indie. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, and I was like, I need to give the same attention that I give to negative to positive. I have a really hard time with that. Really, really hard time. Even like with my own like self-talk, like it's so difficult to feel like what I'm doing is good sometimes and worth it. Kind of like what you were talking about, like, is this worth it? It's really difficult. And I think when you're in a creative career like this, like you have to have that positive self-talk, and that's not something that I've mastered yet. And like, I'm very self-aware. I'm self-aware enough to admit that. I want to hear your perspective on that because you are a little older than me. So I want to know if like that's something you feel like has come to you. Are you still working on it? Where are you at in that journey?
With my journey of like being a creator and the challenges,
like the positive self-talk versus like negative.
Sure. I would say like I try my best to be very positive. You seem
like it.
And even like when I'm really, really down, and I've shared a lot of that like online, I'm always very hopeful because for me, I think if I work hard enough, or if I wake up every single morning and I try my best, you know, then it's going to work out for me. Like, I don't imagine a world where things don't work out for me. And I think that's what's really kept me going.
Wait, that's such a good tidbit. Oh my God. Wow.
So a little bit of like background for me. Like, I grew up in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and I come from a very like humble background to a single mother. I grew up very poor. And so like my sister
single
and I
too,
like
so.
My sister and I, when we like grew up, my mom couldn't afford to like raise us, so we would go to Brazil and like live with cousins and live with grandmas, live in people's basements. And then we eventually like found a home that my mom was able to like afford, or like, you know, try to afford. And then I've been there since I was like 8 years old. But the way I grew up like pointed so many arrows to saying like, maybe this is not going to work out for you. But I've always been such a dreamer and so hopeful. And like, I would always think, oh, but you know what? Like, something's going to work out for me. Like, for example, like, I'm saying like I'm getting emotional. Okay, hold on.
No, that's fine. It's a safe space, girl.
Like when I was in high school, like I always wanted to do activities like go to the movies, but my mom couldn't afford it. So my sister and I would skip out on a lot of activities. So we would just do things that were offered from school and stuff. And then when I turned 16, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the legal age to get a job. So the first thing I did when I turned 16 was I literally, like my video, I showed up with my resume and I got my first ever job at Tommy Hilfiger.
Hey.
And in that job, I like made $8 an hour, and then I would say $8 an hour. Yeah. $8 an hour. And I was 16 years old working like 35 hours a week. And I would like help my mom with like bills and stuff.
Wow.
And then I thought, okay, so if I work really hard, I'm going to be able to go to college.
Yeah.
And if I go to college, then I'm going to be able to get a good job and I'll be an actor. So anyways, even though like there were so many obstacles in my way, the one thing that really did keep me together was just hoping and knowing that like or telling myself like things are gonna happen for me, they're gonna work out. And I think that keeping that light inside of me has helped me overcome, whether it's like growing up poor or being able to like get myself through college and so on. So I think that never giving up and still keeping the dream that you have, even if it seems impossible. Like, my dream is still to be an actor. I have not achieved that yet, but I'm still like, it's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in an A24 film, and I cheer for myself. And another thing that I feel like also works for me is saying yes to me. Because there's so many times where like people say, oh, you can't get an agent because you're too this, and that. You're too young, you're too green. But I want an agent still. Like, I'm going to say yes to me. Oh, this person says no. Okay. Pivot. Let's go to the next person who's going to say yes. So whenever I get no's, I just think about that yes that I'm going to get. And that makes me even more fired up because I'm like, like I know what I want and I know that I can achieve these things and I believe in me. And hopefully the people that, you know, I align with will believe in me too. And we can make some magic happen together.
Damn, I gotta be like you when I grow up. Like, wow, that was really beautiful. And I appreciate you sharing that with me also. It's tough. It's tough to talk about those things and reflect in a really honest way. And I think you did that really beautifully.
Thank you.
Okay. So I've got a little question for you.
Let's go.
Do you have social media management or are you an independent creator?
I do have social media management.
Cool.
And I recently got one in February, Mismanaged LA.
Cool.
And I feel very lucky. And before that, yeah, like, well, my social media really only started taking off recently. So that's when I got my management. Yeah. And I find that it's really, really helpful because I get like overwhelmed by emails sometimes. And also I'm new to this world. So I don't know how to like negotiate pay and like advocate for myself. And, you know, like, and my current manager, she has experience in law as well. So I feel extra protected as a creator, which is really beautiful. Important. And yeah, I feel like having a manager just makes everything easier because whenever I have questions about this industry, I know where to go, which is really nice.
Right.
But yeah, I do have a manager and it's been lovely so far.
That's
How
so
about
great.
yourself?
I recently just got management. She's based in LA. I mean, not LA, sorry. She's based in London, actually. But yeah, she's based in London, so sometimes like the time difference, like answering emails is a little difficult, but she's cool. She's actually like my age.
Oh, no way.
Which is crazy. Yeah. Because I was like, this is a crazy world to dive into. And she's doing it and she's doing a great job. Yeah. I think it was so crazy to me when she had reached out to me because I was like, again, it just validates that you are a creator in a way. Like, it's not the only thing that validates it, but it's one thing that I was like, oh, this is for real. Like, people think that I have potential in this and they want to help me out and they want to be on my side and they want to be on my team. And I just never imagined that happening. And especially because, like, my boyfriend, he's been doing creating as well for, like, literally 10 years. He was, like, a Vine kid and he was, like, vibing and doing all that. And he, like, really has empowered me to like do stuff on my own. And then I think handing that over to someone else was like interesting because he had championed me and been like, he's the one who told me start posting on Reels, start posting on YouTube Shorts. Like you're kind of depriving yourself of an audience by just posting on TikTok. Yeah. And then from there I was like, okay, like, sure, I guess. And because he had so much experience, I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, I will. And then when I started reaping the benefits of that, I didn't know what to do. Yeah. And I thought the email was fake also. I was like, is this real? Like, so many things have just been like, is this real? Is this happening? Yeah. Which I'm sure you can resonate with as well.
I definitely do. Yeah. Because when I started getting emails from managers to represent me, I was like, oh my God, this is a really big dream for me. And this is a goal that I have on my bucket list. And the fact that it's happening right now, it almost didn't feel real. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then extending it to like the acting conversation, like the agency and management side of things does get very like complex, I think, so to speak.
You know what's interesting about that? I find that the creator influencer side of things is less intimidating than the acting.
You're right.
And like, for example, for acting, I don't know why, but it's so much harder for me to reach out or have conversations with like an agent or a manager versus having a conversation with somebody to represent me as a creator.
I think it's because on social media you're being yourself, you know?
Yeah,
like you're being yourself, and they kind of know you already before going into the
That
meeting.
is true. And before going to the meeting, they already like have a yes in their mind.
Absolutely.
But with an agent or like for acting,
it's more of like a sussing out.
Yeah,
like what's going on
exactly.
here.
It just feels like I have to prove myself and prove my talents.
Absolutely.
And it just feels a little harder to like get, like, for example, like I want somebody who like is as passionate about like is just passionate about this business as much as I am, but also somebody who believes in me as much as I do, because I'm a go-getter and I'm always on time, I'm very diligent and all those things, and having somebody like match some of those qualities would just be ideal.
Yeah. I think that leads into a really interesting conversation about like boutique agencies for acting versus like the bigger ones, like the Big 5 or the Big 10 or whatever it is.
It feels more exclusive as well.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I don't know if maybe I don't have enough conversations with some of my actor friends.
Absolutely,
but it all kind of feels like it's all supposed to be a secret.
Yeah,
that's the vibe that I get.
My God, that's like, so true.
For example, like
it's like, who are you with?
Exactly. Like sometimes, like even asking people, like, hey, do you mind referring me to your agent? It feels like such a big ask when it's like it's just an email that you can send out to somebody and be like, hey, agent, take a look at this person. If you like them, sign them or take a meeting with them.
Absolutely.
But for some reason,
it's because it's competitive.
Yeah,
it's competitive, and I think not that social media isn't, but I think because it's so many more people, like the pool is just so enormous. With acting, it just feels a little more like, like it just feels a little. It always feels like that. It always feels like that, and I pray for a day where it doesn't feel like that, and it does feel like less intimidating. And
for sure,
but today's not that day. I don't think the landscape is changing, especially after the strike. Everything is a lot harder.
Yeah.
Like,
did you notice a lot of like auditions and stuff slowing down because?
Well, my agents and managers dropped me like right before the writer's strike was about to happen.
Yeah.
I had taken a break from acting auditions for the first time in like 4 years back in like 2022. I was about to graduate early.
Yeah.
And I was like really enjoying my job at CUNY at that point, and I was exploring all the social media stuff, and I was just like, guys, when I'm doing an audition, I feel like I feel horrible. I'm doing my auditions at home, like with my mom or my sister. They don't want to be doing it. I don't want to be doing it with them. It just is like a very strenuous task to do these self-tapes. And especially I just felt terrible.
Yeah, especially when there's short turnarounds too, and you have to memorize like
and like, so I'm getting mad at like my mom or my sister because they're not saying a line maybe how I imagined it or like whatever it is, but they can't help it because they don't know and they don't have that background. So I just had a really honest conversation with my reps for the first time ever. And the first time in 3 years that I had been rep by them, and I said, guys, like I'm at a point where I'm anxious to do self-tapes. It makes me unhappy. I cry after my tapes. I don't know what I'm doing. This doesn't feel good right now, and I need to take a break. And they were like really understanding. But by the time I was ready to come back, they were like, well, you've been on this break, and then you haven't booked for 3 years before that, and we have demanding client lists because they were really big agencies in a management company, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna let you go. But they didn't. They did it over like Actors Access, which I thought was a little,
my gosh,
like they just kind of dropped me on Actors Access without telling me, like giving me a call beforehand, and that was really tough.
I was with an agent for 4 years, and I decided to part ways because for some reason it was really hard to like even get her to have a conversation with me, and I was always met with like I was always met with an attitude that I was wasting their time. Yeah. And I was like, I'm one of your clients. Like, I'm not, I just have questions about things. And so anyways, I decided to part ways, and I wrote this beautiful email saying, we've been together for 4 years. Thank you for being one of the first.
I wrote that email too.
Yeah,
girl,
I was like,
I know.
Thank you for being the first person to say yes to me. Like, I appreciate you so much. And it was just like, thank you kind of email. And immediately, like a minute after that email was sent, no reply, but an Actors Access notification that I was dropped. And I was like, okay, well, 4 years for what?
Yeah, it's true. It shows you how much of a business it really is.
Yeah.
Because I think we all think, oh, wow, like it's, I'm acting and I'm being vulnerable and it's so personal, and then it's not that. It truly is an industry. It is an industry. It is a business.
Do you ever feel like you're always like starting over in a sense?
I didn't when I was with my previous reps, only because I had so much momentum at that point. I was auditioning and getting callbacks for projects like Never Have I Ever and Sex Lives of College Girls. I was down to like final 2 for the role of Bella in Sex Lives.
Yeah.
And
did you do a screen test?
I didn't do it was during the pandemic.
Oh,
but I met Mindy Kaling like on Zoom in my living room, and I was like, this is not how I want to meet Mindy Kaling. But she like said my name, like she was giving me a note, and she was like, Kalissa, you're so funny. And I said, I was like, oh my God, stop. But like, yeah, I think having those experiences, I've auditioned for a lot of A24 projects, gotten a few callbacks for some, and nothing ever like came to fruition. But I was like, okay, at least these people are repeatedly seeing me. I'm in these rooms multiple times. People are fans of me. This is great. And then when they dropped me, I feel like that all kind of like went out the window, because now starting over with this agency that I'm with now, I don't know yet if they have those same connections to those same casting directors or anything. Like, it's all about network, right?
Yeah.
And you want to tap into everyone's network, and you want people to tap into yours, and like you want it to be very reciprocal. But I haven't been with this agency for a long time, so I'm not sure. It's kind of like a Wild West type thing right now, where they're sending me out for stuff and it's cool, and I'm wondering, like, is it going to be the same stuff as before? It's too hard to tell right now.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see what happens. But the starting over factor is definitely there right now. But I expected that going into like working with a whole different agency, I guess, and a boutique agency nonetheless. Like, you know, smaller is better sometimes because they're more like one-on-one attention. Yeah. So I'm excited to work with them and see what we cook up. Yeah. But you mentioned this. So do you feel like you're starting over every time you do like a new?
Sometimes I do. Yeah. Like, for example, with social media, the like views online is so like inconsistent. Sometimes like it'll be all the way up and then it drops again. So I feel like I constantly have to come up with like new things or new content to put out there. And when something sticks, I keep going for it. But then when it doesn't, I'm like, okay, now I have to start over. I have to like think of a new idea, this and that. But also with acting, I feel like I'm also always starting over too, whether it's like finding a new team or just like taking a new acting class or
you take acting classes in the city?
Yeah, the last time I took an acting class was a year ago. It was like a film TV acting class, which I really, really loved. Yeah. But then I realized that all I was doing was performing inside a room, like all I was doing was performing in an acting class and nobody was seeing me. Like I wasn't really getting auditions and stuff.
At Pace, were you FTVC or were you?
I was BA acting, but I was friends with a lot of the FTVC majors, and I liked that major the most. Yeah. If anybody's seeing this, I would recommend the FTVC major.
When I auditioned for Pace and got in and I was thinking about it, I was thinking about going to FTVC.
That's the only major I think that anyone should consider at Pace. But
interesting.
Yeah, it was really great. I forgot.
Sorry, yeah, I was just curious about Pace. I was like, oh, tell me about Pace. Well, I mean, we haven't really talked about like the college experience so much. So like, what do you think your main takeaways were from your program? As someone who didn't go to a BFA program, I'd love to hear.
So my program was BA Acting International Performance Ensemble. And going into it, I thought that it was going to be like theater and TV based, but it was actually all devised theater, which I had no idea like going in.
That's intense.
So it was very new for me, yeah. But I will say what I got from it was being able to always like start from the bottom. Like a lot of my work was creating new works from the ground up. So so throughout my college experience, like I traveled abroad with a show that some of my classmates and I like created together from scratch. We would read stories and come up with skits from stories. So I find that it really helps with my content now when it comes to like making new things on the spot or coming up with ideas very quickly or being on my feet.
I love that.
So that was really nice. But what I really loved about my experience there was the people I met along the way, because I grew up with no connections, and I knew that if I went to college in New York, I would eventually meet people who had more connections than I
all
had.
About network. All about network.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I need to meet people along the way, and that's how I'll make my dreams come true. So I really love the connections I made along the way, but I will say that you don't need to study acting to be in college. There's so many people who made it in this business who didn't even go to college, you know?
That's what I didn't want to go to college at all. I told my mom, like, I'm going to be a star at 13 and I don't need this.
I mainly went for networking, but I wouldn't recommend my specific major. I didn't really enjoy it, to be honest.
No, the honesty is good.
Yeah, it was a lot of, like, rolling around on the ground and pretending to be like an animal that you studied at the zoo, or like throwing fire at nothing, or
that was me in high school. I did I did it for those 4 years in high school, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do it again.
In one class, my teacher got a newspaper and she crumpled it up, put the newspaper in the center of the room, and we watched this newspaper unfold for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, we spent 1 hour pretending to like be the newspaper itself and like uncrumpling our bodies to what the newspaper looked like to us. Anyways, a lot of that was going on, and I always thought to myself, when am I going to be in a movie? Yeah. That's the entire time. I'm not kidding. Like, I was just like, when is the TV series coming up? And so then I started gaining like that kind of like consciousness as I approached like sophomore year of college. Yeah. And at that point I was like, okay, like some of my colleagues all like have agents, some of them don't, and I want to get auditions like the people who have agents do. And so then I started asking everybody like, what's your manager like? What's your agent like? And then I took on an internship at an agency because I wanted to see firsthand what that was like. And I wanted to be educated in that space because I was like, I'm gonna learn everything I need to know so that I can have all the knowledge in the world to pursue this career in the entertainment industry. So my junior year, I saw an open call for a boutique talent agency. I showed up and I signed with an agency for the first time my junior year of college, and that was a big moment for me because it was the first time where I thought, wait a minute, like just because I'm in college doesn't mean that I can't audition for things. Like, I want to audition for things now.
I hate that policy. Exactly. It's so
like,
weird.
I'm studying acting. Like, I should be auditioning for real things and not just performing scenes inside a classroom that just my teacher's gonna see. And nobody ever is gonna see like my talent here.
There's a lot of like paying your dues that comes with going into something creative. I think with acting and content creation, it's so prevalent.
You want to know the craziest thing? I also felt like in the program, they like at Pace, actually they never put a restriction of you can't audition outside of school, but they also never really supported it. For example, when I got my first agent, I got this contract and I went around to the higher ups and the teachers, and they all said, sorry, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know any information about contracts. And I thought, okay, but like every year your students get signed to agencies. How are you not familiar with this? You teach us this business. In fact, you're my teacher who teaches me the business of acting. I thought you should
it's like a weird gatekeeping.
It was just very strange. I didn't feel like supported like while I was in school and outside of school with the teachers that I had. But that was just my personal experience. I know that a lot of people felt more positively towards like their experience, but for me, I always felt like I had to do it all on my own. And yeah.
Do you think you have a healthy relationship with social media?
No. Hell no. It's terrible, actually. It's terrible. Literally,
what is your screen time?
Oh my God, probably like 12 hours.
Okay.
What about yours?
Me too.
Yeah. No, it's so bad because do you ever feel like you have a content brain? Because I feel like ever since I started creating content, it's the only thing in my mind. Like, I will literally go to a coffee shop to get myself a coffee, and then I think, oh my God, I should vlog myself buying this vanilla latte.
Yeah.
Or like, oh man, now I'm disappointed in myself that I didn't record myself getting a vanilla latte. And it's like, girl, just freaking live and be present.
No, it's
and
so
I have
true.
I have so much trouble being present.
Yep.
Like, trends take over my thoughts and new ideas. Like, every single day I'm thinking about how I can present myself online and what kind of content will maybe go viral and won't go viral. And
do you think this is a bad thing though? Like, are you in your head being like, I don't know how I feel about that, or are you thinking like, oh, I'm really capitalizing on this right now?
No, I think it's bad because like a lot of my anxiety, because like for me, like my goal is to like have all the opportunities that I can, have access to everything. And when my views are low, it limits my access. It limits my opportunities. But when my views are high, I have the world in my fingertips. This is great. But then when my views are low, okay, let's go. Game plan. What am I going to post? How many times am I going to post? 5 times a day, 6 times a day, once a day? And then honestly, like nothing really feels enough because I always feel like I have to
do the next big thing.
So I don't know, I don't think it's good because I have a lot of trouble being in the moment because I'm constantly thinking about the next thing because my future's up to me and everyone's future is up to them, right? And so like if my content isn't performing well, then it kind of takes a toll on my mental health, and I think, oh man, like it's on me, like how can I make this better? Right. What about for you? Like what is it like?
I take some joy in turning like the mundane moments into something fun, for sure. I think I've totally resonated about like the content brain and like, yeah, that disappointment with the vanilla latte. You're like, oh man, whatever. It's that missed opportunity feeling. I do feel that sometimes, but sometimes it really is fun. I just started doing like the series when I'm waiting for the train. And I just record like a little 2 seconds of me waiting for the train, and then I like say like, oh, my AirPods, and then like I play a song. More often than not, it's a song that's like very niche, a song that's soca, dance hall, like Afro beats, Bollywood music. It's something that I know that my followers are going to resonate with. So it's been kind of fun, like kind of just sitting there doing something, and I'm like, huh, I've got an idea. Like, and it feels very fulfilling to like turn a little moment like that into something like joyful and really fun for my followers. But I totally resonate with you about like the views thing, and when your views are low, you're like, but I think something that I'd love to talk to you about is like the relationship aspect. Do you make relationship content?
I did okay. For some time.
I would love to talk about this.
Yeah, okay. So there was this. Okay, so one time I was like bored on the train, and my boyfriend was just standing up, minding his own business, like not knowing what I was up to. And I was just sitting down, and I got this little notepad. I opened it up, and I decided to like flirt with him. And then I thought, wait, let me record this moment because maybe it'll be funny. But it was just for myself.
Right.
And in the notebook, I wrote, hey, you're kind of attractive. Was checking you out from afar. Call me. Heart, heart, heart.
Yeah.
And then I crumpled up the note on camera, and then I handed it to him. And in the video, he's opening up the note, he reads it, and he smiles. And then I immediately like throw my phone down. And to post that video, like he's been in videos with me before. So as a joke, the video caption was, oh my gosh, guys, this cute guy in the train, YOLO, gonna hopefully like I'll grab his number or something. Hopefully he'll call me.
And he was totally on board with it.
I just posted it. I didn't think nothing was gonna happen from it because my videos weren't performing well. So I just posted it for fun, and that video reached millions of views. And I was like, whoa, people are interested in this, and everyone started thinking that we met on the train. But it was just me being silly. And if you were to scroll down, you'd see that he was already my partner.
Dude, it's because it's the nosy factor. It's everyone wants to know what's going on in your life and stuff.
So then I thought, okay, what if I create a boyfriend series? And what I did was I created this series, and I recreated what it's like to be in a relationship for the first time. So the next day we went out for coffee, and I like filmed some of his legs and a bit of him grabbing a coffee for us, and then us walking. And I was like, guys, and I also nicknamed him Cute Guy. So the entire series that I created became called Cute Guy. So I said, Cute Guy and I are grabbing coffee. I'm so nervous, everybody. And then half of my followers were like, ha ha ha. And then the other half was like, oh my God, tell me more. I'm so invested. So then I thought, wait a minute, I'm just going to keep going with this. So then I made another video where we're sitting on the couch, and I said to him, okay, Vince, like put your arm around me, but pretend like it's the first time ever. And I'm legit holding my phone out like this. And then he reaches over awkwardly, and my phone is clearly like this. And millions of views, and like it was supposed to be like satire too, which a lot of people got, but other people just was following along the ride of this new relationship. So anyways, we created a lot of content.
How long have you been dating?
For 2 years this September.
Wow, okay, cool.
So we created a lot of like content together of like that series. But honestly, it just felt like too much pressure. And then I realized that like I think it's good to keep some things private, like a relationship. And I didn't want my account to be about my relationship. I kind of wanted it to be about like my personal life, so that there wouldn't be this pressure of having to make videos with my partner every single time. But what's it like for you?
The reason why I asked is because I'm like in the middle of navigating it. And it's interesting because I make a lot of like lifestyle content. My stuff is funny, feel good. I talk about whatever I want to talk about, and if that involves my sister or my mom or my friends or my boyfriend or whatever, I'm like, okay, whatever, it's no big deal. My boyfriend, on the other hand, his content is like, do you know the Vine that's like I sneezed on the beat and the beat got sicker? That's my boyfriend.
Oh my God, no way! Like I sneezed in the beat and the beat,
and it's an actual beat, and like he's sneezing on it. That's my boyfriend.
No way.
So
that's sick.
He's been doing skit content like that for a decade, right? And when I saw his stuff, I was like, wow, he's still doing like the skit stuff, and it's great and wonderful. But then this creeping thought came in of like, so when am I gonna like be on his social media? Because that's like a whole thing. Like, oh, he never posts me and whatever and blah blah blah. And at first I was like clutching my pearls about it. Like I was very like, oh my God, like maybe he doesn't like me and that's why he's not posting me. But truly, like that's his job. Like it's his job to be a creator and to do these skits and uphold that image. And my content is not that. So it was hard for me to like grapple with that contrast between our stuff, because he loves me. He's obsessed with me. I'm obsessed with him. Everything is good. But from an optics perspective, like that personal thought came creeping in. And at this point I wasn't like super into my creator journey. So I was like, oh my God, like maybe like he thinks that I'm like a liability. Like, I don't know, but it had nothing to do with that. It just had everything to do with like, what do you want to share and what do you want to present and what is your image and what makes you marketable and what makes you, you know, feel good and like, what do you want to put out there? And the reality was just like, we just have different thoughts. And it's not so personal as to be like, oh, he doesn't want to post me because he doesn't like me. That's his job. And his job is just, it looks a little different than my job. We have the same job, but we're just doing it a little differently. And I think I appreciate that a lot more. But at first I was
I know
what is going on here? There was many conversations about
I have that same thing with my boyfriend, but his page is truly just music. Like
cool. So you're both creative.
He's a musician. Yeah.
Nice.
He's a jazz musician. Like, he's awesome. He's in a few bands, and literally his content is just reels of him like playing and sharing his craft and his music, and he doesn't even post photos. It's just videos. So at first I also had those thoughts of like, oh, why doesn't he post me? And like, this actually sucks. Like, does he love me? Does he love me not? Like, what's going on? Like, my ex used to do this, and like that sucked. But then I realized like, oh wait, like he really does only post his music. And then like on special occasions like my birthday or an anniversary or whatever, he'll post stories with me and stuff. Which is like lovely. And then for me, like as I started gaining more of a following online, like sometimes when I like make videos, I don't realize that people actually see them, or like people actually pay attention to them.
I feel you.
Like one time, like I made a comment like about like how much I like blueberries. I'm making this up. And then like a few months later, somebody told me like, you can buy these blueberries at these kinds of supermarkets. And I was like, oh wow, like this person remembered this small detail about me that I forgot that I said out loud. And so anyways, with my relationship online, whenever I do post videos with him, it's just like we're doing it for fun, or I ask, is it okay, or do you want to be in this? And if he says yes, then great, we'll make a video together. If he says no, then whatever.
That's lovely.
The cool thing I did find is that like he's putting his own music out there, and he's working on an album. And we do like making videos together about sharing like his music and me helping him out with that, and it's so fun for
Would you ever do like a video like promoting one of his songs?
For sure. I did. There's so many videos of me like holding my phone and being like, he's playing piano for me. Oh my God. Like, it's so cute. Like literally every morning he'll play piano for me, or like I'll be getting ready and then he starts playing the piano so that I can have some music in the background.
That's sweet.
But yeah, I share his music as much as I can.
Yeah, you got to support one another.
Yeah,
and
it's super fun.
Like a huge part of things. And I never imagined dating someone creative, let alone like that does the same thing as me.
And it's so fun.
And there's
fun parts.
There's fun parts. There's fun parts, but I think it's really awesome to like have someone to go to if you need an opinion about something, and know that you have like pretty much unconditional support to do the thing you want to do. But you know, when you have differing opinions about like strategy, or you have differing opinions about like which hashtag should I put here or whatever. And I'm a very stubborn person, and I like getting my way, and I like being right a lot. Like too. A lot of actors and creators.
I was gonna say a fun part for me when I was like agreeing like this is so fun, is because like when he's writing new music, I'll be like, okay, share it with me. I'm gonna like tell you my opinion and what the vibe is of the song. And so sometimes I'll share like song titles or song names, and then he'll keep it, and I think it's fun. So his new album, there's like 3 different songs that I got to name, and that was super cool. And we're hoping to make skits around his music, or make like videos showcasing what he's been working on. And so that part I'm excited for.
Me and my boyfriend are going to be in a short film together in July. He's also like an actor. He's really, really good at acting. And I'm so scared.
It's gonna be fun.
Working with the person you love is just like, I've never done it before. This is my first time being in love. This is my first relationship.
Really?
Like,
first time ever being in love?
First time ever. And it's also long distance on top of it. There's a lot of layers. But
how did you guys meet?
TikTok.
Ooh.
Oh, I should have told this.
Who reached out to who?
He did. What do you mean? Come on now. No, I had a video where I was talking about how I juggled on a first date with someone. Like, because that's what I learned at LaGuardia High School. I learned how to juggle. And I had to do it for a grade, and I got 100 on my test, and it was great. Because they wanted as like a special skills on like your resume. So I was like, yeah, like I was juggling on this first date with this guy, and then he said like, I'm ending things with you because you don't take things seriously. Just because I juggled on the date.
Yeah.
And so my boyfriend saw that video just by chance on his For You page. He followed me, he liked it, he commented on it, and he was verified like on TikTok. Because like I said, he's been doing it for years and years and years. So like I went on his account, I was like, he's verified, like he means business, like this is crazy. Followed him on TikTok, then he followed me on Instagram after that.
Yeah.
He was also verified there. I was like, oh wow, this verified creator is like investing in me and like thinks my content is good, clearly. And then he put me on his close friend story, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, he was flirting.
I was like, this seems like more
like,
investment than I
hello.
thought. Yeah. And then I put him on mine, and then he was like, oh, so I see you put me on your close friend story. And I was like, well, you put me on yours. And then from there, we just started talking about so many things. And like I said, he's the one who really encouraged me to like post on Reels, post on Shorts, really like get my brand out there. And I was like, okay, I'll go with this. And now we're in love or whatever.
It's beautiful.
So but yeah, it's all because of TikTok. It's literally all because of TikTok. I owe my entire relationship to TikTok, like, which is so crazy. But yeah.
Kalissa,
Yes.
have you gotten like brand deals throughout your influencer journey or creator journey?
Yeah.
And if so, like, what's your favorite? And
oh boy.
yeah, what's your favorite kind of brand deal? And also, what's your highest paid brand deal too?
Okay. Oh boy. Okay, lot to unpack there. So I have only started getting like brand deals like now, like literally now, like in this month is like
I feel you.
the first time I'm starting to like actually ramp up and like be like, oh my god, this is the thing that's paying the bills. I'm like, I'm saying paying the I live at home with my mom and my sister, paying my personal bills.
Yeah.
And I recently just worked with OtterBox, like the phone cases. Actually.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was like a nice phone case too. I was like, oh, okay, wow, this is
beautiful.
pretty great. So
yeah,
it was really nice to like believe in the product, believe in like their mission, which is to protect my phone. And I got that deal through a platform called #paid. I don't know if you've heard of it. You should check it out, actually.
Yeah.
They do a lot of like brand deal stuff with like US and Canada, and I negotiated it myself.
Oh,
and it was like really cool, and like I got to do two reels for them and two photo carousels, just highlighting the phone and like talking about like living in New York and dropping my phone and doing all this and that, and that was like my highest paid brand deal to date. It was a nice little sum. It was a nice little sum.
What is the range of the sum, if you don't?
It's like, it was like 5,000, 10,000.
Okay, that's
in that range.
Yeah.
But I had never seen money like that before.
Yeah.
In like a lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
Like acting stuff pays like that as well, whereas where like they just kind of give you, and then there's residuals after that. But from creating, like I had never gotten like a here go, like do it. And I had to like concept things for them and like send them like drafts and like scripts and approvals, and they got revisions, and it was just such a production, truly. And it was like a really fulfilling collaboration because I've been using OtterBox since I was 13 years old, and, you know, dropping my phone in middle school, and now to be working with the brand was like,
it probably felt really full circle for you, right?
It did. It was really cool. My mom helped me with the video. I know a lot. It's so stressful doing like brand deal stuff because I don't have like creator friends and I don't have like videographer friends. Like my circle really is tiny, and a lot of my creator friends are from Toronto because my boyfriend lives there, and, you know, he's introduced me to a lot of really cool people. But here it's really just my mom and my sister like supporting me. And my mom tries to help wherever she can, but she's also like my mom, and, you know, she doesn't really know how to work a phone too well, and I have to really like direct the entire thing, and I don't want to have to do that, but it gets the job done.
Do you ever think about moving to Toronto since you have so many like friends there and your partner?
Nah. No, I'm New York or nowhere for sure. Like I would love for my boyfriend to come here and check out the scene and see what's going on, but that's future stuff. We're so young that I'm like, we can worry about that when we need to. But yeah, that was a really cool brand deal I did. And then the other day I just did one with Zenny Optical sunglasses. That was a really good fit. I love me some sunglasses. I'm the person on the train like wearing the sunglasses. Like from the time I exit my house to get to my destination, my sunglasses are on. My sunglasses might be on at my destination.
Do you wear them like at the mall or like indoors?
Yes, at the mall, at night, indoors, whatever it is.
Love it.
When I had gotten that also through #paid and negotiated it myself and whatever, it was just like so empowering, and it was such a good fit. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And I'm getting paid to do something really fun. So it's been really fulfilling. I've done a couple of like gifted things here and there, like Skims. Skims was like gifted. They didn't pay me.
Yeah.
But I got sent a little one piece like unitard thing. That was cool.
That is cool.
But gifted collaborations are interesting, I think. I tend to say no to them more often than not because like the truth is like I have time to dedicate to other things, and like I want to be doing auditions and all that stuff, and so like a gifted collab for me sometimes isn't worth the amount of time that it would take to make the video, because I want every video I make to be excellent. Like I know the caliber that I'm striving towards, and like for a gifted collab I'm like, it really depends on what the brand is. Like Skims, I was like, I've actually really wanted to try Skims, like let me do it. But like a beauty company reached out to me the other day and said like, we want to send you our blush, and I was like, okay, like cool, sounds good. Like can't guarantee a post for this, but happy to post a shout out on my Instagram story if I'm loving the product, which I think is really fair.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They literally responded back with like, they copied and pasted like the initial email of like, in exchange for a post.
Oh yeah, I don't
like,
do those either.
No.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I won't be doing that. But on the flip side of that, when people are like, oh my God, story shout out sounds great, I'm like, look at that. That's advantageous to both people. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, but also if it's a smaller brand, like if it's a brand like this, I just worked for them also, but like this brand Kulfi Beauty, South Asian small women-owned business, a couple months ago, they had like reached out to me about a campaign, and one of the agents that I was working with at that time had like came back to them and been like, yeah, like usually her rate for this is $5,000, but we'll take $3,500. And at that point, I like just hit like 10,000 followers on Instagram. I had like 30,000 on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are these rates coming from? Number one, because I don't know that that's what I would have charged for that at that point.
Yeah.
Like, and it's a brand that I love. I'm a brand ambassador for them. And this is the first time that they were doing like a paid thing with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm willing to like see what their budget is and whatever. But at that point, my agent had already said like, this is her rate, so you know, whatever. And they said no.
Was this a social media agent?
Yeah, it was a social media. Yeah. It was, she was my commercial agent, and then she went to digital like while I was with her.
Yeah.
So like I was like, oh, we were not on the same page with this at all. And then it ended with Kulfi being like, you know, we'll reach out when we can meet her rates. And I was like, oh my God, no. Like I was like, no, like I love this brand, like please, like that's not what I want. But then I ended up working for them like for the last 3 months. So that was really cool.
That is really cool.
But I was like, wow, communication is really important to have with your manager, agent, or whoever you're working with, because where did she get that from?
Yeah.
Not from me. That's not where it came from. So
when you took a meeting with your current social media manager, how did you know that you wanted to sign with them?
I think for me, I just got a good vibe. I'm really big on vibes.
Yeah.
So I like felt a really good vibe. I felt like she believed in me. I felt like she, you know, thought I was funny and I had potential, and that I was like a star. Like you want people to feel like you're a star and that you have something to bring to the table.
You also want to feel respected.
Absolutely.
Too.
And I did. And I think that's what it was. It was really simple. I think with, like we said, with acting stuff, it's a lot more complex. But with this, it was very like, okay, cool. Which I think is it's great to feel like you can be like a little more casual, so that it doesn't feel like pressure or anything's like coming down on you, because at the end of the day, it's your face constantly all the time, always.
And what's your communication like with your team? Like, do you guys?
It's good. We email. Yeah. She's in London, so like we don't get on the phone too much. But like I have a call with her next week to talk about like YouTube Shorts and strategy for that.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm happy to do that. And
what's your? Do you have a strategy for YouTube Shorts? I just started posting like 2 days ago.
My strategy is just consistency right now.
Yeah.
Being that I'm just reposting like content that I'm making on Instagram and TikTok on YouTube Shorts right now, it's just like being consistent, making sure that I do actually get something up, because sometimes I'm like, it's like an afterthought, but it can't be.
Do you post like once a day, twice a day? Do you have like a strategy that you're
so on TikTok it's kind of random sometimes, and then I think on Instagram I've like really stuck to once a day, and then in this last week I've done twice a day, and it's hard. It's really hard, especially because I don't have like a backlog of content right now. I did when I first started. I had like 300 videos when I first started from TikTok ready to post on Instagram, YouTube, whatever.
Right.
And then when I ran out of those 300 videos, because I was posting them every single day, I was like, oh God, now I'm doing it in real time. And it's a lot scarier doing it in real time, because people have expectations.
Yeah.
You know, and if I'm posting every single day at 5 p.m., I don't want to disappoint people that are and it's crazy to say, like, but like people have messaged me and been like, I'm sitting at my phone at 5 p.m. like waiting for you to post, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't let them down.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say consistency is the strategy that I strive towards on like all my platforms, but YouTube, I really gotta like
Me too.
hanker down.
What kind of content do you see yourself like posting on YouTube? Short form, long form, just sticking to shorts?
I've done mostly trend stuff on YouTube Shorts because they're just easy to like get up there, but I need to put like my mustache waxing videos on Shorts. I need to put my vlogs, but it's hard because I edit all of them to be 90 seconds and Shorts is only 1 minute. So then I have to make like a whole other like re-edit of my 90-second thing, and it's tedious sometimes, especially when you spend hours working on the 90-second version.
Right.
You're
How
like,
long does
God.
it take you to edit one video?
Depends. It depends on how much I was paying attention while I was filming like the raw footage. It depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
It depends on where I am. It depends on you know, how, it just depends truly. Like, it's a day-to-day thing. How long does it take you to edit?
It depends. Like, if I have like 3 minutes of footage, then maybe like 30 minutes to an hour. But if it's less than that, I can edit in like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then just click go.
Yeah.
But I also like, I don't edit in CapCut. I just use TikTok, and I just I literally do everything on TikTok.
That is a hot take. That is a hot take. I'm terrified of that native TikTok editor.
I'm just like,
it's too, I don't know what's going on. Like,
I just like taught myself everything like on TikTok. So like when I tried to do CapCut, I was intimidated because I was like,
it's a lot
now I
going
have to
on.
learn this platform, and so I just do everything on TikTok. That's why it's so much quicker for me, or like easier. Though lately I realized that if you film with your phone camera without it being on the TikTok app, apparently the quality is much higher and like better. So I think I'm gonna try that out. But it's just so much more convenient, like filming all the moments throughout my day on TikTok, because then I have everything in one file, basically everything in one place, rather than everything in my camera roll, and then I have to like pick out the videos that I want. But
I haven't done that in a hot minute. Wow. That, I don't know. I give you major props for that. It's scary. That TikTok editor scares me.
Really?
Yeah. Even when I'm doing like a short trend video, I feel like sometimes it just like messes things up, and I'm just like, oh no, what's going on here? So I take everything to CapCut now. But would you like want to explore more editing platforms, or are you just really comfy with what about the TikTok ban? What about that?
I know. That's why I've been like posting on Shorts and also like on Instagram. I've been posting on Reels at least 5 times a week.
Are you cross-posting, or are you posting all the same
I
content?
cross-post, I cross-post, and then sometimes, for example, like sometimes I'll just post more of my personal videos on TikTok, and then on Instagram is more of like my comedy like videos, because I find that TikTok has a different vibe or essence compared to Instagram. Like Instagram is just so different, and TikTok is more like friendlier and vloggy, and Instagram is more like,
I think TikTok allows for mistakes, and Instagram like doesn't.
For sure. Yeah. Like I actually made a video. So I was going out to dinner with my boyfriend, and I was wearing heels. Actually, the heels I have on right now, they're a mess. So anyways, he brought some socks for me, and he goes, girls always do this. They like wear socks on the street without the heel so that their feet could feel better. And I said, really? They do that? I never knew that. So then I was like, oh, this is sick. This is a new life hack. So I made a video of me taking off my heels in the street, and I was actually like barefoot on the streets of New York. And I was like, guys, look at this life hack. Just put on your boyfriend's socks and like walk home like barefoot with these socks on. And so then the video is me being all happy that I found this new life hack, and they tore me to pieces. They were like, girl, what are you doing? Also, why does it have to be his socks? You can get tetanus. There's needles on the floor in New York. There's rat pee on the floor. What are you doing? Well, nobody does that. And I thought, wow, I thought I was doing something big.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I know I can't use socks like that in New York. So you know what I did? I went on Amazon, and I was like, shoes for travel. Yeah. So I bought like this little shoe that could bend, and you can put it like in a little bag as backup.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I should have brought it today. I didn't.
Cool.
Whatever.
I like that.
But now I have backup. I learned my lesson.
Yeah, dude, people
they were wild
flame
in there.
You. People will flame you about New York specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. Girl. Tell me about the brand deals. What's going on? What's your highest paid brand deal to date?
Okay, so the highest to date, it's lower than yours, girl. $4K.
That's
4K.
That's fantastic.
But it is fantastic. It's fantastic for me. But yeah, 4,000, and hopefully I'll get up there and get more like higher paying brands.
Was that with your agent or was that by yourself?
No, I never negotiated like by myself because I basically just started too, like January, February forward.
Right.
So I'm not really familiar with like all the rates. I usually just DM people and I ask them like their range and stuff so that I can learn about it. But now I have somebody that I can ask questions to. Yeah. So I think that the rates really depends on how your engagement is at the time too.
Right.
So it just like varies. But that's what it is for me, or what it was the last time I had a brand deal. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Thanks for telling me. I appreciate that.
Okay, so give us the tea, Kalissa.
Oh, God.
Do you have any future projects or exciting opportunities coming up?
I am doing a little trip.
Ooh,
I'm
where are you going?
doing a little branded trip. You'll have to follow me to find out.
Wait, that's so fun.
Yeah. I'm really excited about it. That's going to be like in July.
That's so fun.
And it's my first time like going somewhere for a job and like getting paid for it and getting paid to literally, again, like I said, just like have fun. I'm going to take my boyfriend with me and we're going to have a great time.
That's so fun. And how did you get the opportunity for the branded?
That was through my manager. And it's a really good fit and I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, that is so cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I love it. Let's see. Well, personally, I'm taking a trip to Vermont next week with my boyfriend. He's playing with his band and I'm so excited. Wow. It's going to be a good like chill like vacation kind of vibe. I feel like I haven't had time to like really just enjoy or slow down in life. So that, and then professionally, I'm trying to find an agent for my acting career, so I'm gonna get that going. Got my new headshots, and I'm trying to think of like new projects to come up. I was thinking about turning my YouTube channel into a series of interviewing strangers, because a lot of my content is talking to strangers on the street. So then I thought, well, what happens if I interview strangers, people I've never met before, and they all have different like jobs, and what are their jobs like? And maybe they have exactly. So I don't know if it will be like street interviewing.
Okay.
I'm really inspired by that Chicken Shop Date podcast.
Yes, it's so good.
Kind of like that, where I have one specific location and I get together with a stranger and we just talk about life. So I'm thinking about going that route. I don't know, maybe having my own podcast or something.
Do you have a specific location in New York that you're thinking about doing it in? Don't say Washington Square Park.
I wasn't. No, not Washington Square Park. If it were to be a park, maybe like Fort Greene Park. Okay, cool. I really enjoy that park. Great. And I don't know if it'll be in a park or if this will happen. This is just like some thoughts that I've got going on right now. But yeah, I'm excited to keep putting content out there and figuring out like my style and seeing what works. But yeah, I think
you have a really distinct style for what it's worth.
Yeah,
like, okay. When I see your videos, I'm like, yeah, obviously, yeah. Right. It does feel very like distinct in you. Okay, so that's wonderful.
Thank you. Yeah. And how can we find you? Where can we find you online?
I am Kalissa Persaud on all platforms. That is me. On Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and Spotify. If you want to follow me you guys should follow me on Spotify. I've got a lot of really good playlists. My top one is called I Got Played, But I'm More Pissed Than Sad. It's got a lot of followers for a reason. So I will leave you with that. Where can people find you?
That is great. Lohanny, SANT, on all platforms. TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. But yeah, come follow me, guys. Let's have fun together. Yeah. Talk about life and stuff. Yay! Thank you, Creators on Creators, for having me, Lohanny Santos, and
me, Kalissa Persaud. Make sure you leave us a rating or review on any podcast platform. And if you're watching, drop us a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.
Wow.